You ready?
Reading this piece of equipment
So I'm
must be qualified.
yeah. Whatever you got. I'm just going in and out of this
The operator must
to
be
cover
aware
what
of
we're
the
going to need to
capacities
cover.
of
All
the
we're
machine
really doing
and
is
the proper
the
use of
schedule,
pull downs, strippers,
maintenance,
and
and some of the
guards
safety
provided with the machine.
that we're going to cover.
All guards and awareness barriers provided with the machine must be kept in their proper place. Safety glasses are required at all times, whether operating, setting up, or observing these machines in operation. Never place any part of your body under or in any of the machine's moving parts. Strictly comply with all warning labels and decals on the machine. Never remove any of the labels and replace worn or damaged labels promptly. Always disconnect and lock out the power when performing maintenance work or setting up any tooling on the machine. Follow the procedures outlined in the operator's manual for setting.
So we have the operator's manual here that has everything that you need. Okay, so it'll go over what he just said, which it's not exactly rocket science. You gotta keep your hands out of the machine. We'll cover that too. Loose fitting clothing. You probably should have gloves on if you're dealing with metal. If you're done dealing with metal anyway. I would imagine it's company policy to have safety glasses on. It's not a terrible idea, especially when you use
Safety glasses on all the time.
okay, so safety glasses are great. Obviously, it'll help with any kind of projectile. So it's a really key part to what we do. I'm just trying to, as far as what I've seen, the biggest when that notcher is up, it's very dangerous. So it's very obvious when you're doing your punch station, right? Because we have the stripper in front, we got the glass plate in front, so it stops a lot of stuff from happening. But on that notcher, if you leave that notcher guard up, it's just going to keep going like this when you're using the machine. It's very easy to give it one of these and lose a digit. So make sure that's always down when you need to do. Also, the machine doesn't know that it's what's cutting. So if you're going to leave your nice expensive tooling on there, it's going to eat your nice expensive tooling. So metal's metal for the most part. So
Some kind of label on the cover to make sure that.
there's a label on the back there. Yeah, Darwin. It's the Darwin theory. So if any of those labels go, call us. Because sometimes they get roughed up when people are using metal here, so you slam them. So if those do get roughed up, call us. We'll get you more of those labels to put right back on. They don't. It's not that often that happens. But if in case you scratch it, rip it, we like to, on the safety side of stuff. That's definitely what we like to see. And what he was talking about is these have cover plates on them, so you don't put your finger in there. You don't put your fingers underneath there. It's more with the punch station. It's almost human nature not to do that. You got to want to stick your hand in there. But some of the other tooling, you want to make sure I don't know if you noticed, but there's slots here and there's slots here actually in this decking. And we want to make sure that the tooling is over those slots, because what happens is when the slug gets cut, it goes down in it. Don't panic in case that does happen. I've done it myself where I misaligned it and the slugs build up. What ends up happening is the blade comes down and gets wedged behind it. So don't do anything with that. Take it off the machine. And typically they tell you to put it on the floor and away from people and kind of tap it. And then it'll pop the two springs and that blade will come clean. But don't do that near anyone. They seem like from everybody. So that's one of the things that you would see. As far as safety, again, you want some loose fitting. We have these gloves. These are Pyramex gloves. These are cut resistant. So this is a cut level 4. So most of the guys who are doing work for Turner and for the Ecom, I guess, they all require. And I'm sure you have your own policy too. It's kind of nice in case you get burnt because you're working with metal. They come this way, they come smooth, you can get them any way you want. What does cut resistant 4 mean? It means it's 4 times stronger than a leather glove. That's what it means. So they're getting the dexterity now, so you can really feel what you're working on, because that was always the knock with gloves, is I can't feel it, and I'm kind of that way too.
Yeah.
I like to feel stuff. So these are 18 gauge, and then they're going to be going to, these are 15 gauge going to 18 gauge, which means it's very, very thin. Really cool to, you know, you could pick up a dime. Yeah, they're good. So just an FYI. So from the safety standpoint, I mean, that's really about it. Obviously, if you're opening it up, the electric has the auto shut off. So just make sure nobody's rigging that to try to run it with the box open. When you're using the machines, you do have make sure you put everything in the start position when you're starting it up, or it won't start. And you got to get used to that a little bit. So. The machines, the tooling themselves, a lot of the blades can be resharpened. So you don't have to, once your tooling goes down, you can send it back. We can sharpen stuff up for you. So don't get rid of it right away. I'm gonna see if there was anything else. So that's really on the safety side. The one thing we went over earlier was, to me, was doing that die and the proper way to do the die. So I wanted to just get to that from where we were. Save you some time.
Never leave this machine running unattended. Always be aware of what the operator of the other station
Here's
is
some
doing
other
at all
do's and
times.
don'ts, which makes sense.
All electric work should be done by a qualified electrician. Set up a program of regular maintenance in accordance
We're going to
with
talk about
manufacturer's
regular maintenance in a minute.
Scotchman Industries has provided us in the off position. You can put your tag out device at both ends. Per control box contains the rest of the operating and both selector switch punch position. That the station will open and dock the machine by either sheet position.
The first and most important procedure we will demonstrate is the Scotchman preferred method of changing and aligning punches and dies. Failure to properly align punches and dies can cause serious bodily injury to personnel and/or damage the equipment. Please observe the procedure very closely and use the Scotchman preferred method.
This is what we went on.
Always wear safety glasses when operating or observing this machine. With the machine's punch and tool selector switch in the punch position and the ram retracted, turn the power off at the disconnect switch. Release the stripper and swing it to the side out of the way of the punch ram and retaining nut. Remove the punch retaining nut and set the punch retaining nut and punch aside. Loosen the die holder bolts. Loosen the two set screws holding the die insert in the die holder, remove the die insert, and loosen the set screw holding the die, and remove the die. Place the disconnect switch in the on position and the selector switches in the start position. Power the machine by pressing the green start button. Place this selector switch in the tool position and allow the ram to fully extend. Turn the machine's power off. Clean the die insert cavity of any foreign material. Select the proper punch and die. Make sure there is proper clearance between the punch and die. For example, a 1-inch punch must be mated with a 1 1/32 inch die. You will notice that the hole in the bottom of the die is larger than the hole in the top. This is for slug relief. Make sure you install the die with the larger side down in the die insert. Clean both the punch and die of any foreign material. Insert the proper die in the die insert. If the die has a flat spot on the edge, align the flat spot on the die with the set screw in the die insert. Tighten the set screw firmly with a hex key wrench. Please note, all of our shaped punches, including squares, ovals, hexagon, and special order punches, are manufactured with a keyed alignment system. This keyed slot mates with the slots in the punch ram to allow for two different positive lock positions of the punch. We strongly urge you to take advantage of this feature. Insert the punch into the punch retaining nut. Make sure it seats properly. Place the punch retaining nut assembly on the die insert with the punch inserted in the die. Place the insert back into the die holder and tighten the set screws. Raise the punch retaining nut and turn it on to the punch ram. The die holder may have to be moved slightly to align the punch retaining nut to the punch ram. If you are using keyed punches, manually rotate the punch until the key seats in the ram before tightening the punch retaining nut. Use a wrench to tighten the punch retaining nut. Make sure there is equal clearance on all sides of the punch in the die. Retighten the bolts in the die holder. Check to be sure of proper alignment. Realign if necessary. Return the stripper to the forward position. Place the disconnect switch in the on position and the selector switches in the start position. Power the machine by pushing the green start button. Place this selector switch in the tool position. Jog the machine several times with the foot switch without letting the punch come out of the die to be sure the alignment is correct.
Or lift out.
Place the selector switch in the punch position. Oil the punch and die before use and every 5 to 10 holes thereafter. On the initial setup, punch 3 to 5 holes, then retighten the punch retaining nut and the die holder bolts. After the initial setup, the punch and die alignment should be checked intermittently during the punching operations. To do this, bring the punch down so it enters the die. Turn off the machine. Check and tighten the punch retaining nut, the set screw holding the die, the 2 set screws holding the die insert, and the 2 bolts securing the die holder. Check for equal clearance around the punch in the die. Place the selector switches in the start position and power the machine. Place the selector switch in the tool position and jog the machine several times with the foot pedal to be sure of proper alignment. Place the selector switch in the punch position and continue on with your work.
So, that's kind of what we covered already, right? So, I did have a point here. On the bottom, I took that stripper out, which obviously they did with this one too. So if you were using, you're gonna make smaller holes that are gonna be smaller than those 2 stripper arms. That's when you put that plate back on, because then it'll do if you're doing a smaller piece, it won't catch either arm once it retracts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's when you would use that. But they really kind of covered. That's the really key piece.
Now, to adjust that guard up and down, that's with those 2 bolts on the side of it.
So yes, so you got 2 bolts on either side. You could adjust them so it'll come down, come up, depending on the thickness that you're doing. Okay. Also, I mentioned earlier, this does have a bypass on it, so if someone comes in with a 2-inch piece and decides he wants to punch something, leave that open and then try to do a 2-inch punch. It'll go into an emergency bypass and the machine will stop, which is good. As far as did you guys have any questions as far as safety? It's kind of basic stuff.
That other use heavy molly
for
the punch.
Some people use motor oil. I mean, it even says it in the manual. So cutting fluid is the best, obviously. So when you're doing punches, they're saying between 5 and 10, lubricated between 5 and 10. It'll make a nicer cut, and it'll also make your punches and dies last longer. When you're using the cutting blades, they say 10 to 15, so it's a little bit more. 10 is just a good number for me because I can remember 10. So most guys will take a 1-gallon container, cut the top off, put the motor oil, put the cutting fluid in that with a paintbrush, and just do it that way.
We're saying cutting fluid, you mean the black stuff, the high sulfur stuff.
It's
not the thin shit.
No, not crappy stuff.
Well, it's like crappy, it's just a different viscosity.
I think it had the viscosity. We use, you ever hear of Tap Magic?
You use Tap Magic?
Yeah.
That's pretty thin.
Yeah, we use Tap Magic. You should have got a can actually with this machine. I'm sure it disappeared. Yeah, Tap Magic, or anything like Tap Magic. You don't have to just buy it. We don't sell tap actions, so you could use something like that. On the scheduled maintenance, what they're calling for, as far as when they want you to do it, the lubrication's the most common point. So they're asking you to do the main bushings, which you saw there clearly marked, grease point. So they're asking you to do them daily. If you do them weekly, you'll probably be better than 90% of the people I work with. The grease fittings, they would like twice a week on the grease fittings. You can check the oil reservoir. They say check it monthly. It should be no more than 2 inches. That's why I was kind of using my finger. If it's more than 2 inches down, you want to add a little bit. You can use a.
He uses his finger.
So the hydraulic oil has to be lightweight, non-foaming. The WD-18 or something like that. It's okay to use. So use it and stuff for your other. Yeah. The reservoir capacity on that is about 14 gallons. So it doesn't go away. It doesn't go into space. I mean, eventually it will, but it's not like you're using it like with your Bridgeport. You know, that stuff evaporates after a while. It's capped. So just take a look at it occasionally. They say monthly. I don't know anybody who takes it off monthly, but that's what they're suggesting.
Do you have a monthly maintenance schedule sheet?
That's here.
Oh.
We're gonna give it to you.
Checklist.
Yeah, when we do Metro North over on Holmes Drive, that one over there, they have one of ours, and they did a really cool thing because they were afraid that they had bought a deluxe punch and die package, and they were afraid everything was going to get mixed up, which it probably did. They actually took a picture, which somebody printed out something, and they put it right on the head of the machine. So which punch goes with which die. So it's a really smart way to do it. So I would suggest if you're ever over there, take a look. You're gonna get it eventually. You have to. They'll probably put it in instead of a capital budget. And you're not talking a lot of money. Like I think 11 or 12 punches and dies is $300. I mean, it's not a lot of money. So, yeah, that's the most common sizes that are used. So, but take a.
Common sizes average 1.8 by 8 or by 16.
You can get it by 16th and 32nd. Yeah. Yeah. So they have they've done a couple good things over there, and I like what they did. So that may be something that you want to know.
Speed loss group,
So that's really it. The machine is concrete. I mean, you got to work to kill it. You got to work at it. And I know you think you guys are bad. We have ours in the sanitation department of New York City. I got it in the police department. I got it.
So it's in a controlled atmosphere. Really using it.
Yeah.
For
Which
what
one's
the
the-
machine is built for, it's gonna get light duty.
It's gonna what?
It's gonna get light duty.
Yeah. So
It's mostly 3/8 thick.
it's nothing.
I know.
That's totally stuff. But that's good. That means it'll last forever. It really will. That's all I got, gentlemen. Anything? Any questions? Good. Let me just make sure I got it.
conclude our segment on punching, there are a couple more precautions. Never punch material thicker than the diameter of the punch. As an example, a 1/4 inch punch will not have enough strength to punch 3/4 inch thick steel. Any effort to attempt this can cause punch breakage and possible harm to the operator. Never punch partial holes. The side thrust encountered in punching a partial hole can force the punch over against the die and result in punch and die breakage. This may result in serious bodily injury. Now that you have the proper instructions for installing punches and dies, you must be sure that you have the proper stripping capabilities. Both sides of the stripper must be in equal contact with the material being punched to be effective. If this doesn't happen, the tonnage of the machine will retract the punch, causing the material to tilt, and the result will be breakage or damage to the punch and possible injury to the operator. Remember, these machines have the same tonnage for stripping as they have for punching. For ease, speed, and safety in the stripping function, a 1/8 inch space between the stripper and the material to be punched should prove satisfactory. For punching holes close to the edge of material, a spacer plate is shipped with the machine. The use of stroke controls can greatly increase efficiency and tool life. There are stroke control adjustments for each of the machine's operating stations. The upstroke adjustment will prevent excess travel before the next cycle. For many of the optional tools available for these machines, setting the downstroke of the machine is necessary to prevent damage to the tool. For additional safety and tool life, use the stroke controls. The angle shear must be placed on the tool table, centered over the slug chute, and as close to the machine's frame as possible. Anchor the tool using the clamps provided with the machine. This position is closest to the pivot point, giving you proper slug ejection and maximum tonnage for the job. All tools set up on the tool table are operated with the machine in the tool position. The proper slider block must be used, as it compensates for the scissors action on the power beam. It is very important that the tool is placed so that the slider block fits squarely under the power beam at all times. Under no circumstances should any part of your body be placed between the power beam and the tool or close to the shear blades on any of this tooling. For shearing uneven leg angle, please consult your dealer or the factory for the proper blades to fit the application. Do not shear uneven leg angle with the standard blades. It will damage the tool immediately. Lubrication is very important. We recommend lubricating blades every 5 to 10 cuts. When using the flat bar shear on your Scotchman Ironworker, always use the hold-down device. Never put any part of your body between the hold-down and the material to be sheared. Do not attempt to insert any material into the flat bar shear in any manner than under the hold-down device. The maximum tonnage available is to the right or closest to the pivot point. For lighter material, move to the left for better quality on the cut-off piece. Do not attempt to shear pieces that are less than 3 1/2 inches long, as they are too short for the hold down to grip, and this will cause the material to kick up, and the result will be a poor quality cut and possible damage to the machine. Please lubricate every 5 to 10 cuts. This tool is operated when the machine is in the notch position. When this position is not in use, be sure the guard is in the closed position to prevent anyone from storing tools or material on the table or in the blade cavity. The DO120-24M will notch up to 3 by 5 3/4 inch rectangle in 1/2 inch material and 3 by 3 inch 90-degree V notches in 1/2 inch material. The DO70-24M will notch up to 3 by 5 inch rectangle in 3/8 inch and 3 by 3 inch 90-degree V notches in 3/8 inch material. Additional precautions for this station are as follows. With the material between the blades, cycle the machine until the blades have sheared completely through the piece. Continue to hold your foot on the pedal while you move the material toward you on a horizontal plane. Now that the material is away from the blades, the operator can remove his foot from the pedal, and the machine will return to a neutral position, ready for the next cut. Lubricate the blades every 5 to 10 cuts. Setting up, changing, or aligning any tooling on this machine. Never operate this machine with dull or damaged tooling. Replace worn punches, dies, and blades promptly. The area around the machine must be kept clear and well lit. Never modify this machine in any way without the written permission of the manufacturer. Never leave this machine running unattended. Always be aware of what the operator of the other station is doing at all times. All electric work should be done by a qualified electrician. Set up a program of regular maintenance in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Scotchman Industries has provided the latest state-of-the-art in control panels for their iron workers. In order to operate this piece of equipment, you should first familiarize yourself with the control panels. In the lower control panel is the lockout-tagout switch. When the switch is in the off position, you can put your tagout device in the specifically designed switch that prevents turning the machine on. When this machine is tagged out, both ends of the machine are inoperable. The upper control box contains the rest of the operating controls. To start the machine, place the disconnect switch in the on position and both selector switches in the start position. Pull out the stop switch and depress the green start button. Neither station of the machine will function until you designate the position you want to activate with these switches. With this switch, when you select the punch position, the tooling station will close and the punch will open. When you select the tool position, the tooling station will open and the punch will close. This station is also equipped with a jog control. To use this feature, place this switch in the jog position and use these switches to jog the machine either up or down. To use the foot pedal for this station, place this switch in the run position. This switch selects either shear or the notching station. In the shear position, the shear opens and the notcher closes. In the notch position, the notcher opens and the shear closes. This mushroom stop switch is designed as an emergency stop switch. There is also an emergency stop switch on the notcher end of the machine. Good common sense and respect for the tonnage these machines develop is very important. With proper lubrication and maintenance, your Scotchman Ironworker should produce many safe, trouble-free hours of operation. If you have any questions regarding the operation of this machine, don't take any risks. Call your local dealer or Scotchman Industries and we will be happy to assist you. This video belongs to your company or person that purchased the machine. Please use it as a ready reference periodically for continued safe operation or as a training video for new employees. Please consider this video as additional visual instruction and not a replacement for the manual. Please read the operator's manual. If this video or manual becomes inoperable or misplaced, please call the factory at 1-800-843-8844 toll-free and we will send you a replacement at no charge. Scotchman offers many optional tools for this machine. Is demonstrated here in conjunction with our multi-lock advanced measuring system. This stripper is designed for applications that require a repeated series of holes in strap material where deformation of the material is a problem. As you can see in this demonstration, there is very little deformation of the material. Scotchman Industries would like to take this opportunity to thank you for purchasing one of the finest iron workers on the market today. The purpose of this video is to help you become acquainted with the general setup and operation of this equipment. In all moving machinery, there is the possibility of operator injury. It is our goal to keep this potential to an absolute minimum. It is Scotchman Industries' sincerest wish that management will make this video mandatory viewing. In these times of constant changes in the workforce, you can't be too careful. At Scotchman Industries, we are not only concerned with sales, we are concerned with operator safety and satisfaction. Please consider this video as additional instruction and not a replacement for the operator's manual. Please read the operator's manual.